Good morning. I got a little Dr. Pepper here. Cheers. The rain is lashing down, as the writers like to describe. But as always, it's very nice to be out. It's very wet, but it's still quite warm. And with it being Sunday, there's nobody about. In a few hours, you'll see dog walkers and families and people going fishing. But as of now, something stuck to my face. As of now, we have the place to ourselves. My socks are a little wet. I have some holes in my boots, and I don't really want to go change. I don't want to get a new pair of boots because, when you just really like something and they've gone on a journey with you, which is kind of what I want to talk to you guys about today. So this ties in perfectly. I've walked up many mountains with these boots. They've always been handy to grab, and I just don't want to throw them in the bin. So I'm sort of putting off buying a new pair, but my wet socks are telling me different. So today I want to talk about travel and the importance of traveling. And when we look at what travel is, we have to first explore the idea of what it is we're trying to ascertain or gain in life. All of life is a journey from start to end. You start in one place, and most of us, we want the same things. We want good friends, we want a relationship with somebody we can love and trust. We want compassion, we want to have ambition, we want to learn, we want nice things, nice clothes, experience. And as you journey through life, you perhaps make a good friend, and then you become incompatible with that person, or you fall out and you have to progress and move on, and then you either decide, I'm too old now, I'm just going to be a lone wolf and focus on my family, I don't need friends, or you're going to be in despair and you're going to go out and you're going to try and meet new people. And in doing that, you'll gain more experience, because then you'll realize, nothing can replace naturally making a friend. But then it's also kind of nice to non-naturally make a friend, and relationships don't have to be life or death. So as we journey through life, we gain all this knowledge and all this experience, what we're able to share with one another, and hopefully shape ourselves into better people and help and don't hinder the people around us. So that's sort of the internal journey, what we're all on, and there's a big movement now with anti-travel. Reasons why you shouldn't travel. And the big reason is that when you get to these places of abundance, i.e. the pyramids, some church you want to go look at, when you get there, reality doesn't meet expectation. And I can't deny that's not true. If you go to these places, you're going to be haggled. There's going to be many tourists there, depending on what season you go. And you will not... The joy of going somewhere is the joy. When you go to the place, you're living in the moment, you're not really thinking about it, and you might... Occasionally, you can be moved. I'd say if you was to visit 10 places and you don't have prior knowledge on these 10 places, I would say maybe 3 out of the 10 will move you. And that could be because you hear somebody playing a violin at the side, the jet lag's kicked in, and you can't believe where you are, so it just brings tears to your eyes, or you are generally moved by just how the sun sets behind the pyramids. And again, those are things that come without these places. They need eyes to enjoy them. So reality can't live up to what you see, or when you first scribble in your notebook, I want to go see the pyramids, I want to go climb a mountain. when you scribble that down, the joy starts there. And when you come back and you're in your office or wherever it is, you're in a fast food joint and you're looking at pictures of where you've been, that's when you begin to enjoy it again. I do apologize if there's quite a bit of rain coming in the lens. I do apologize if it's getting a little fogged up, a little steamy. But what I would say is, when I walked through Petra, all the way through I was being offered goods and wares, little trinkets and sweets and tea. And sometimes I would take a tea and I would sit with the locals and they would haggle with me with things and I'd buy a few little things. And yeah, it does get a little bit annoying. And I've been in countries where the pressure tactics they use are bordering on the below the belt. They'll say you're racist, they'll throw things at you, they'll follow you around, they'll intimidate you. Let's take a little drink of this. There's nothing better, I feel when you're a little thirsty, we don't have a drink on you but you just can't wait to nourish yourself. It's just such a good feeling. So when I was walking through Petra, yes, I was being haggled, and I heard somebody talking about how it's annoying and this needs to be banned, but I was told by somebody who lives there, this has been around forever. This is literally a valley where they've sold wares forever, so you're actually walking through a historical experience. And I think it's in places where there hasn't been a haggle culture before. What is the problem? The second problem is that if you go and you try and do some big experience, it's getting dark, we could perhaps have a thunderstorm. It has been it's not been, the sun hasn't been out, but it's been a little bit hot in the UK, so I think I did read something about a thunderstorm. It's coming down a little bit now. I'm going back quite wet today, I reckon. So one of the other things is that the lights has picked up. One of the other things is when you go to these places, people are so desperate for experience. I think this is the point. I sort of, as I started talking, and I don't know if I wrapped my prior point up, but we're going to move on anyway. But when we go to these places, we expect experience. Swimming between tectonic plates, going on camel rides, climbing a mountain, going on a food tour. And people come back and they still don't quite feel like they've experienced. They feel like they've experienced more than perhaps a holiday where you're sitting around the pool, just absorbing the sun. They feel they've experienced more than those people, but they still don't feel like, when they come back, they don't feel well nourished. They still have questions. And that's because when I go traveling, and it's a very intimidating thing to do, I'll do a bit of the absorbing. I like sitting in a hotel and around the pool and just absorbing life and watching people and watching life and time go by. I also enjoy swimming between tectonic plates. I try and do a bit of both. But the thing what I always do, I'll just go and walk into a petrol or gas station and I'll just look at what they sell. I'll go into a supermarket, look at what they sell. I'll go into a cafe just for locals, where they speak no English. And I will try and barter, and I will use what phrases I've learned. I look at a phrase book or Google Translate, and through that I will make friends. People will come and talk to me, and with what English they can, and the history I brought with me and the history they have, we will share, and then you have this amazing field of communication which you can't get anywhere but travel. And they will invite you to their house, and you have to be careful with this. There is a risk to this, of course, so you have to, this is where parents don't want to hear this, but this is where you have to have good perception, and you have to know who to trust and who you're willing to trust. And you can get invited to houses. They can take you on a snowmobile up a mountain and it'll be free. You might have to give them a little bit towards food or shopping. If you go to a shop and they buy a bottle of whiskey, you have to chip in. And you'll make a friend for life, and you'll share two communities. And that is what travel is. Everything else is kind of fake. It's correct. You can get some amazing tours. When I look for tours online on Get Your Guide or something like that, I really go through it. I know what tour to pick now. And I've become kind of synonymous with people I know that I'm a good traveller. People like travelling with me because there's adventure and I know where to look for good things. And sometimes it's just the silly things when travelling what are fun. Going to check out their local cinema, going to, as I was talking earlier, the supermarket. The rain is really coming down. If it was lashing earlier, I don't know what this is now. And you can't really see it on camera, so it's almost like I'm lying. I've got my thumb over my drink. So this is why people are depressed at the moment, because we are all living too much on the grid. Everything is around the phone, everything is in our bedrooms, and we are not leaving our towns, and we are lying to ourselves by... I have great pleasure in communities. I go to a running community. I love going to cafes and playing chess. I do all these things that get you out of the house, but nothing really beats travel. And just to conclude, I know one of the big issues is that people can't afford travel right now. And the second big issue is that it's also impolite to travel because of what it's doing to the environment. But that's a topic I don't really want to talk about today. Man. Luckily, I think I can actually get back without getting too wet. I'll walk that way through the woods. I'll cross the track. I'll go through some more woods. It's a little bit open the next part, but I'll try and hug the tree line. Or I could wait it out and see if this passes in the tree line. We'll see. But yeah, one of the big problems is that people are depressed in their own sanctuaries and they are not willing. It really is coming down. You know when the rain comes down and you keep saying to the gods, just give me more. Is this all what you've got? This is that right now. I think we're going to conclude the video here, because I'm not going to do a professional job in these conditions. But I've made most of the points I want to make. Traveling is extremely important, and if you can't afford to travel, get out, go into the woods, read a book, just absorb yourself in different cultures, and I promise you, life is always exciting. Cheers. Okay. Have a good week. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and ciao.